Part 2, DXing Made Easy by Victor Gonchowski, US5 Whiskey Echo.
Well, when the high bands will be alive again, I recommend you to use a very simple 3-element antenna designed by Delta Kilo 7 Zulu Bravo. Of course, both OH2BEN and DK7ZB antennas could be found by typing their call signs in the Google search, so there is a lot of information. Interesting that this antenna has no traps, and you can tune it by just changing the length of the top section of each element. So you put marks on a tube, and you can work from 17 to 10 meters by changing the length of all elements. I use this antenna to work both the expedition of the year last year, VK9 Delta Whiskey X-Ray to Willis Island, and Kilo 5 Delta to Desiccio on 12 and on 17 meters CW and phone. Both the expeditions responded to my first calls on both modes. When you have time and space and desire to work on low bands, which are actually not needed in the basic DXing, at the moment I would suggest you to concentrate on 40, 30 and 20 meters. This will allow you to work at least 275 countries in a year or so. You can install the vertical antenna, which we've been using for many years with Hamdead Lod U5 Whiskey Foxtrot, and it is a 60 to 70 feet top-loaded vertical antenna, and that could be tuned on 2 bands without switching. Antenna is very effective. Of course, this depends on a ground system, but we've been using it on a metal roof near the center of the city, so we had a rather good ground with a tin roof. But this antenna also can be used on 3 bands. Of course, the switching and tuning arrangement will be different, but when you add a linear loading to it, you have a 3-band antenna which includes 160, 80 and 40 meters. And when you have a good receiving antenna, you'll be able to work almost every DXpedition or every DX which shows up on those bands. Even better results could be obtained by adding a delta element to it. The top of the delta was attached to the vertical, and it was just tilting away from the antenna. Is tuned by a stub on a signal source, vertically polarized, and this antenna worked even better, allowing us to have very good results in ARRL contests on 80 meters and work almost any 80 meter DX in the end of 80s and the beginning of 90s. If you still want to work on low bands DX, you need receiving antennas because of the noise. So there are 2 possibilities actually. The beverages which are well known and are, in my opinion, the best are for country hams, having a lot of space, a lot of property, but for those who have small lots, there are better solutions. That is called pennants and flags antennas, which doesn't require ground, contrary to K9, AY or EWE antennas using the same principle. So it is actually a loop which has termination one end and transformer at the other end. The input impedance is 900 ohms and the resistor, of course, is 900 ohms. It could be in form of this or like this, and both have a cardioid pattern, and actually this antenna is a kind of a 2-element structure and the elements are phased somehow. That actually allows to have a cardioid pattern. Another version of this flag antenna is so-called Waller flag, designed by Nancy Fortley Sugar. It has even a sharper pattern, but the signal level from this antenna is about 45 dBs below the dipole. That requires at least two-stage low noise preamplifier. The original flag antenna requires just one stage amplifier because the output signal is minus 30 dBs compared to dipole. So we came to the propagation part of our story. Basic knowledge of propagation properties is necessary. The knowledge of what K and 8 index mean, and if when K and 8 index go high, you need to go lower in band, say to 80, 40 and 160 meters, and when the indexes go lower, you go higher band. So you need to know this. You need to know something about gray line. You need to know about sunsets and sunrises, and the propagation is improving during these periods of time. You need to monitor the WWV and WCY broadcasts on internet or on DX cluster. Without this basic knowledge, you spend awful amount of time by trying to work a DX which will show up in a different time, unexpected for you.
Part 2, DXing Made Easy by Victor Gonchowski, US5 Whiskey Echo. Victor is a member of the Foundation for Amateur International Radio Service and the European director of our foundation. Victor is a well-known DXer. Made this video while visiting the headquarters here in Floyd, Virginia.